we are in this together.
You have gifts that I don't have, and I have gifts that you don't have.
That we must see. Now is the time, because it's when we all get together that we will make the changes that we must make. We are the world.
Welcome to Malcolm and We, heard exclusively on malcolmpresents.com, a streaming portal taking you into the wonderful world of Zoomcasting. You go to Malcolm Presents and scroll down to Malcolm and We, and you'll get this show. Anyway, today I am, of course, with my co-host, Jana Larson, and our guest, ShaRon Rea. Rea. ShaRon Rea.
Did you learn something today, Jana?
Well, I guess so. It's a good thing that I'm not too old to learn new things.
But Jana, since you are familiar with our guest, could you please introduce her?
Well, yes, my friend ShaRon Rea from We, the World, and she is a partner of We, and she has been for a very long time. She's done many things with us, working with Unity, and she has her, I guess I would call it her product, which is No Judgment, Just Love, and she's done a lot with that. She has coloring books and all mugs, all sorts of things, and now she's helping us with partner outreach and fundraising, which of course is very important for us. And I would like to say that something that she's done with us, which we've all liked, is called the comfy couch. And it's where we can sit on her comfy couch, figuratively, and she helps us understand what we're feeling. So welcome, ShaRon. Thank you for being here.
Oh, yeah.
That was
thank
a good
you.
introduction.
That was an awesome introduction. It's so wonderful to be introduced by someone who knows you.
Right.
just like if you're getting married, you want the minister to know you.
or your eulogy.
Oh, your eulogy, exactly.
Someone
No,
that
we're
knows
not
who you
doing
were
that.
that just didn't say, oh yeah, tell me about who I'm burying.
Yeah.
But something I left out is that she has done a lot, and I don't know how she ended up in Arizona, because I knew she started out on the East Coast. And I don't know, I think you were born there, grew up there, I'm not sure, but she worked with Make-A-Wish Foundation. She was a lobbyist, and now she does what she does in Arizona. So she's certainly gotten around. And look at how young she looks to have done all that.
Yes, I actually started when I was 2.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Deanna. I mean, I really have been privileged, I think, and humbled to be able to have so many different careers. I graduated as a choreography major, so I did dance for a while. I've also a window dresser. I used to fix the mannequins, and I was a seamstress and everybody back in the 70s when I just told my age. Anyway, it's okay. I don't care. I love my age.
It slipped out.
Yes. I used to hem the bell-bottom pants so people could wear them with their cowboy boots and all. I've also been a teacher, and I've worked in a law firm as the communications director and event planner, Make-A-Wish, with the government here in Arizona, like you said, a lobbyist. And now I'm a life family communications coach and the founder of the global movement, No Judgment, Just Love.
Yeah,
And owner of the comfy couch.
Yeah, owner of the comfy couch, yes. I'm sorry, Malcolm?
You remind me of my time in therapy. Basically what a therapist does, why people can talk to a therapist, is because the therapist hears everything and doesn't make any judgment.
Oh, that's so beautiful and perfect, because I'm on Facebook a lot. It's the one that I'm most comfortable with. I have Twitter and YouTube and the other one, Instagram. I'm not a TikTok girl very much, but in Facebook, I have created a new group called Creating a No Judgment, Just Love World.
Yeah.
And it is exactly that, Malcolm, because I am a life coach and I do want, with the comfy couch, which is actually an actual couch in my home, but with Yana and it's a more virtual opportunity to provide people what I believe many of us do not have, Malcolm, in this world that we're trying to build to be we. We don't give each other or ourselves permission to be who we authentically are. We're blocked by somebody else's judgments, by our own judgment of ourselves. So we don't really ever get to show up real. And so what the comfy couch opportunity that I've had the chance to do with is that we all get together, we have a quick agreement that when somebody is speaking, no one else is speaking. That person gets to speak uninterrupted, which is another thing we don't get very often, is a chance to hear our own full thoughts uninterrupted with someone witnessing them. Not only someone else, but our own selves. Actually hear what words we're saying out loud. And what that does is, and then that person gives permission, if they choose, for someone to comment. And your comment can never be coaching or trying to change them or taking it off into your experience. It's just commenting on what they said so they can get some genuine feedback that hopefully is useful for them.
Yeah, what I used to call, what I call this is a safe place to be.
Yes. Safe harbor, safe place. Yes.
Right. Where you don't have to worry that someone is going to critique you and say how wrong you are.
Exactly. Including yourself.
Right. and what I do a lot of, which you experience, which you seem to be a living proof of, no matter how old you are, when I interview somebody and I say, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yes.
And this is not an insult. This is, I've had my years and I have done so many things. And like, this is the last 2 years I've been this host on, Zooming and Zoomcasting. I've never done this before.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if you recall, but I want to be, when I grow up, Jeffrey the giraffe who never grows up.
She likes giraffes.
But it reminds me of totally not related to this. In my public school, PS 188 in Brooklyn, one of the teachers had a song, Jerry the Giraffe. And Jerry the Giraffe had a long neck and a short tail. I won't give you the whole song because I can't sing, but you just reminded me of that.
That's wonderful. And you reminded me of when my daughters were young, there was a singer for kids songs called Rafi.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody knows him. And he used to sing, Joshua Giraffe was born in a zoo. What could you do for 3 years and a half? His mother never licked him because he was so sticky.
Yeah, Rafi was a big, I had that.
I remember Baby Beluga.
Yes. What'd you say, Malcolm? Yes, go, Jenna. I know that one too. Baby Beluga, oh, baby Beluga.
Maybe what we should have is a children's half hour on Zoom.
Yeah, that would be great.
And invite the kids. Yeah, I want to talk to you once we get off camera about, I don't know, do you do Zooming or is it basically?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Okay. Now, do you have a Zoom show?
I don't have a show because I have probably incorrectly ID'd myself as a phenomenal guest and not so much a good host.
Well, I might, what I might do is, I have my Malcolm, when you go to a Malcolm Presents, I have a series of half-hour shows on Zoom.
Awesome. I
So
will
I
go
have,
there.
and on different topics. And as I say, I'm always marketing.
Yes.
Because I'm looking to reach another 1 million, 2 million people so I could sell this damn thing.
Oh, I love that. And you know what popped into my head, Malcolm, when you said you wanted to have a show about children?
Yeah.
Just like I, said, I'm never going to grow up. You might either the same or follow it up with adults who remember their childhood and can speak about what their childhood was in a remembering that the good things of it was, not always the bad stuff, which is what we usually remember.
Well, if you, again, go to Malcolm Presents, go to a show that I have called Tush Twins. And it's two ladies who are in their 60s who have been friends since their mothers wheeled them in carriages together. And they tell stories of their adventures as two friends in their teens and their early teens. And they're both from Brighton Beach, which is near where I grew up, which is Coney Island.
Oh, good for you.
And they talk about just traveling through life.
I love that.
And they're silly.
That's the best part. When
Yeah.
you still have joy after all the decades that you've been on the planet, that's a gift to yourselves and anybody.
But anyway, just a little business. I'll get Ayana to give me a telephone number, or
Okay,
we'll
perfect.
Zoom something. We'll see if we could do something.
I'd love that. I'm always up for collaboration, which is what we is all about, right?
Right. And then another important part of it, I'd like to speak to you about your fundraising.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Right now we're working with volunteers.
Yes, we is
But-
also.
Right. But I'm looking to get some paid people, because volunteers come and go,
Yes, they do.
especially when they're college students. They have other priorities. I'm looking to someone to really do a lot of social media, which is really hard.
It is, and you want to find someone who not only knows how to do it well in relationship to what you need, because social media is different depending upon what you need, which
Right.
platform you use and how you use it, but also someone who enjoys it, because that comes through in whatever they post.
Oh yeah, well, that's what I say. Whatever you do, you have to enjoy doing it, because if you enjoy
Yes.
doing it, it's not work. If you don't like it, it's work.
Absolutely. So I love that Jenna presented that I was with We for a long time and still am. It's an organization that, hey, just this past Monday celebrated its 25th year with the birthday of its founder, Rick Ulfik. And
Yes.
what an accomplishment in the nonprofit world. I mean, that is enormous. Especially when, from my view, and this is one of the things we're working on, Malcolm, is being able to enunciate or describe we in a similar way that many other nonprofits describe themselves, which is in a tangible activity that they do for the world. Meaning, I'm going to save the children, or I'm going to bring more water, or I'm going to, work with sick animals, or, which is very easy for people to relate to. We is breaking barriers. The We organization is bringing and shifting the paradigm of what nonprofits can do. And so in that space, what we're doing right now is trying to figure out the words or the phrase that hits the mark for people, because we do so many supportive things for the other nonprofits in the world, which is not usually what a fundraiser or a donor kind of can wrap their mind around. But it is so needed, because our mission is to create a world that works for all. We're not trying to fix one thing. We're trying to help the people that are creating the world get seen and heard. Did I say it right, Jenna?
Yeah, we're a nonprofit helping other nonprofits, and in every way that we can without giving them money. We're giving them support. We're giving them all the things that they really need, cross promotion, all those sorts of things. And we're there to help. So what's wrong with that? Nothing's wrong with that.
Well, the hard thing, and again, I've only been in this world for a very brief period. I mean, as far as, we and what people do. And I find that the hard thing that we's attacking, the world is attacking, that it's fine to fix the world and to do hunger, climate control, but people have to live. I mean, while people are organizing things, people are starving, which is a very practical thing. Their children are starving. They don't have food for their children, so there's really not time to get involved to the greater good. But basically, you have to save your own butt, or save your family, feed your family, get them water, get them, provisions. What happens, like, when there are earthquakes, like that was in, Turkey and Syria. All of a sudden, the important thing is survival, and a lot of the world is based on survival.
But you know what, Malcolm? And that is the beauty of we, that it is actually doing that in a way that is new, possibly unknown, and not understood by the greater population. Because there are thousands, and I dare say more than that, nonprofits doing exactly that, what you just said, being the tangible on the ground, dealing with survival. Particularly, I know, and I hope I get their names right, Jeff Bezos, maybe 2 years ago, awarded $100 million to Chef Andre, who feeds people in need. And he took that money went to Ukraine and set up shop and feeds the refugees. So we organizing in the way that we do to bring these types of partners together so that when people are looking for what just you said, I don't really speak, I can't do the visionary thing of these lofty things, I got to feed my family. So they come to we, and we have a database, we have connections, we have relationships with the nonprofits that do that tangible thing. And we can collaborate, we can help those nonprofits collaborate with others that do the same thing. So that when someone comes to say, hey, I need to feed my family, what nonprofits are out there? We can say, here's 2,500 of them all around the world. We will give you this opportunity to choose the one that fits for you.
And we can expand on the power of one.
Yeah, well, it's one collectively.
Yes.
One collectively is the world.
Yes.
The
And
world is
we
made
are
of
all
lot of
over the
ones.
world.
Well, it reminds me of the. Sometimes it's hard to differentiate between the world and individualism. I think there was a Star Trek where there was a collective of a whole group of people that really acted as one.
Yes.
And they were so powerful. Of course, it sort of was against our universe, which is based on individualism.
Well, when Spock died, that was the conundrum, because Kirk was like, and I'm an old Star Trekker now, I don't know the new ones, but he went into the toxic part of the ship to try and fix it. And there was a debate about, I'm doing this for the many or I'm doing it for the one. And, there's a road between those two that each person gets to choose.
Right. It's a very delicate balance.
Yes,
And
it
being
is.
individualistic doesn't mean that you're only thinking about yourself. You can be individualistic and think about everybody else. And that's how your individualism comes out, because you do care about others.
And just like the airlines, if you don't put on your own oxygen mask first, it's very difficult for you to help other people. So
Right.
there is constantly a relationship between the one and the many. We just
right, especially when they always say, put the mask on for the children, for you yourself before your child.
Yes, exactly. Because that was so opposite of my training as a woman in this world. It's like, oh, you're
you
all
have to
about
give
everybody
completely
else.
of yourself, and
Yes,
that's not right. You
And
have to
then
take care of yourself so you can take care of others.
Right,
then you know how, and you have the energy too.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Well, as I say, you have to take
important.
care of you have to take care of yourself before you take care of others.
Right.
But as women, Malcolm, it's very difficult for us to align with that sometimes, because our generations and ancestors were the gatherers and the men were the hunters. And so individualism for hunting made sense, but individualism as a community of who you have to grow the food for, cook the food for, help everybody, it was all about the kids or the greater community, to the exclusion sometimes of ourselves. So when I heard that on the airlines, I'm thinking, what? That doesn't make sense. But I'm all in the pondering of things, and I realized, oh, if I'm dead, I can't help anybody.
Right.
So
Exactly.
But as you were saying, this goes into my joke I used to do when I was younger. And they say the women take care, do the cooking, raise the kids, clean the house. And what do us men do? And I said, well, us men protect the house from lions and tigers.
Yes.
And I asked my wife, I said, when is the last time you were attacked by a lion or a tiger? Because I'm protecting you.
Ah,
Stop complaining.
yeah.
Stop complaining about cooking and cleaning and taking care of the kids.
Oh, that's a justification perspective. I get it. I get it.
That's my stand-up
There's so many
comedy routine.
lions and tigers out there,
Right,
especially in
and
LA.
they've never attacked my house.
Wow, you
Because
just have some
they know,
magic there, Malcolm.
they know I'm there to protect the family.
I'm doing my job.
Yeah, and your clothes are clean while you're protecting the
Right,
family
and-
from
and- and I
your
have-
stomach
I have
is
my-
fed
And I have
and all
dinner when I
that.
come home.
Yeah,
funny.
because
Malcolm, I'm from
you
New York
protect it.
too. And
What part?
2 parts. I lived in Burham Hill for a good amount of time, and Park Slope, my favorite.
Oh, Park Slope.
Both in Brooklyn.
That was always the chic part.
The chic.
The chic part of Brooklyn, by Park Slope.
Yeah. And when I was there, it wasn't what it is probably now. But I just loved it. It was close enough to Manhattan, but it had its own character and all the brownstones, tree-lined streets. I really enjoyed living there.
Well, I lived, as I said, I grew up in Coney Island, which was great.
Yes.
And I went to school up as City College, which was up in Harlem.
Yeah.
On 135th
Totally.
Street and Convent Avenue. Then when I graduated, I moved to Greenwich Village.
Oh my gosh, you had the wonderful places that you lived.
And before I moved to LA, I lived on the Upper West Side, 90th Street in Central Park West.
Oh wow! Boy, you should write a book. Those are really some of my favorite places. I worked in Manhattan on 59th across from Bloomingdale's, and that was an interesting place to be. But those are wonderful areas, Malcolm.
Yeah,
Great stories.
I've been to New York City once, and all I remember were taxi cabs everywhere, and just too much stimulation. I think I had my hands over my eyes the whole time, and that's my experience with New York City.
Yes.
I'm just a small town girl, I guess, or a mountain girl.
Yeah.
But
It
anyway,
has a
I was
vibe.
getting back to I was amazed. Yana has brought to the show many of the people who are working in the African countries.
Yes.
And are doing what we were talking about was helping the people of their village or cities too, and very inspiring people.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Many countries in Africa are very community oriented. Not all of them, but many of them. And what I love about Botswana and some of the other countries is they live under the concept of Ubuntu, which is I am because you are, which is really the foundation of what I think the world should be. What you talked about, Malcolm, is there is an awareness that I'm an individual, but I don't exist without you. I'm not in the world by myself. You are, so you have to matter. Your comfort, your education, your safety all matters because we are one.
Yeah. Do you do group therapy?
Yes.
Yeah, because you'd be wonderful for that.
Thank
I mean,
you.
again, when I graduated college, back when, everybody in
A couple
my
years ago.
everybody in my group went to therapy. Why? Therapy was continuing education.
Yes.
The more you know about yourself, the more you're able to achieve.
Can I quote you with that one? I like
Yes.
it.
That was my grad school.
You know what's
And tell
interesting?
about how you had your hair long and you wore your
Well, I
beads.
was also into Eastern religions then, and that was a big time for
Oh,
Maharishi Mahesh Yogi
Yeah.
and Swami Satchidananda. And
Yep.
I used to have my hair long when I could grow it long, and I had a full beard, a big one, but it was also not as
Tie.
white and gray as it is now. It was longer, and the days of the Nehru jackets.
Yeah, oh yes. My uncle from Africa brought over the concept of Nehru jackets, the little
Right, and I used to wear love beads.
Yes. Oh, I can picture you very easily.
and they used to call him Maharishi Mahesh Malcolm.
Oh, beautiful. What a wonderful
Yeah,
label.
Yana loves that story. So that was many a year ago.
Yeah, around the time probably when the Beatles were advancing over there and learning
The
their
Beatles
stuff.
said, yeah, I
You play the
remember.
sitar too?
Yep.
Well, the oldest Beatle, in fact, on Facebook, they had a story about Pete Best. I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember that name. He was the original drummer before Ringo.
Oh, yeah. Before Ringo. Yep.
And I think he was, I forget, 92 or something.
Oh, he's still here?
He's still,
How
yeah,
awesome.
I believe that's what I read, but I was sleeping in the morning. I might be wrong. So don't quote me. But anyway, tell us more of what you're doing, since the show is about you.
Oh, thank you. Well, I know we have a time limit here. I don't want to go over your time.
You have about 5 minutes left.
Okay. I do two things in a lot of different ways. Number one, just like you said, I am a counselor, a coach, a guide, a support for people so that they can become the best self that they are willing to become. And I offer lots of opportunity for them to explore. I'm actually creating a program right now called Self-Care Made Easy. Because what I understand is when you're making a cake or a stew or you're building a house, if you don't use wonderful, healthy, strong products, your end result is not going to be as good. And to me, that's what my offering to the world is I want to help each one of us, and all 8 billion of us, become our best selves. So we fit together as a perfect tapestry or a puzzle. In order to do that, you have to know where your sticky out parts are and your any parts are. And you have to, embrace those. So I do that. And underscoring all of that is the movement of no judgment, just love, which, by the way, is not me asking you to do something that's not human. We all judge. We judge all the time, and that's appropriate. My ask is that, or invitation to you, is that when you do make a judgment about yourself or someone else, take a pause.
Yeah. Well,
and when in that pause, you get to discern, what are you going to say? What are you going to do? And how are you going to behave that moves you closer to the we or to love? And that, I know, will shift and change how we interact with each other. And as a result, will change our world.
yeah, they're very good. What reminded me of, I don't know if you remember the old Calypso song. House built on a weak foundation cannot stand. I think that's Harry Belafonte.
Yeah. Oh, he's still here too.
Yeah, Sydney died.
Sydney died.
Two best friends,
Yeah.
Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte were the
Yes.
best of friends. As a matter of fact, from what I understand, Sydney wanted to be a singer and Harry wanted to be Harry wanted to be an actor and Sydney wanted to be a singer, and it sort of switched around.
That's wonderful.
Wow.
But that was his big song, the Calypso, a house built on a weak foundation, which you're talking about. You have to have the
Yes.
foundation, because if you build on a weak foundation, it's going to collapse.
And that's why I love your phrase that I'm going to quote you, Malcolm, about continuing ed. It's not just continuing ed for your profession, like my former husband's a lawyer, or nurses, they have to take these courses and all that. It's continuing ed for your life. Because what you knew about you at 17 is very different than 40, it should be at least, and then very different decades as you go forward.
Yeah. Well, life is different. If you see now, I have the young sons. They're young. They're in their 20s, but they live in a totally different world than I grew up in.
Yes,
and
totally.
It's hard. Yeah, and it's, I hear them talking. I don't even understand the language.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. They are speaking a different language.
There was an article of a professor, I forget what college, it was in the LA Times the other week, and he said how the different generations vary from each other.
Yes.
And he said each year he comes back, he has the same vocabulary, but his students have a different vocabulary.
Exactly. And that's one of the group workshops that I do, is generational communication. Because my generation, the baby boomers, speaks differently than my daughter, who also is in her 20s, the Generation X. And then the little ones that are coming in, you can't, when you say to us, how did Kennedy die? Well, we think of president. You say to my daughters, who are in their one of my daughters, oh, it was John. And you say to somebody who's younger, is Kennedy who? So, you're not even
Right.
speaking the same language when you remember things.
Right. As we say, we have a whole series of shows that we could do. It's just, at the
And
end
one
of the,
thing I've noticed is that the kids are looking younger and younger and younger.
And they're going to live hopefully longer and longer and longer.
Well, we sure hope so.
well,
Yep.
yeah, we collectively
We.
hope so. Because the thing is, it can get so depressing listening to the news, especially on a 24/7 cycle.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, I offer to people, stop listening to the news. And what I get back is, I have to know what's going on. I said, but think of this. The news is showing you this much of what they
Right.
think you need to know about what's going on. There's a whole
Exactly.
of stuff. So stop listening to the news. I stopped listening to the news for 2 years when I first started becoming a coach, because I wanted to have my own thoughts before I started allowing other people's thoughts to come in, so that I could discern what worked for me or didn't. And from 2008 to 2010, you asked me about a world event, I have no understanding, but I'm thriving. I'm doing okay. I didn't really need to know that.
Well, one of the objectives of my show basically is communications. It's to communicate, as I say, what the world is doing, the good parts of the world, and show people such as yourself, such as the shows that we've had previously, and what they're trying to do.
It's a wonderful, noble goal. Keep going.
And I wish we could get somebody that had the copyright to the song "What a Wonderful World," because I hear that and I hear Louis
Yeah.
Armstrong singing that,
Oh,
and
love it.
I sort of a smile comes out to up to my face. But anyway, hate to tell you, the show's over.
Okay, thanks,
We've been doing
bye.
this for a half hour. And as I said, we'll get together later and talk about what we could do.
Yes,
with
thank
the,
you so much, Malcolm, for having me and for your
It's been
time
fun,
for conversations.
And as I say, thank you for your work. You sound like you're a wonderful person that I'd like to get to know better.
She is. And
Bye,
ShaRon,
Yana.
thank
Thanks.
you so much for agreeing. Let's go from me
To
to we.
go for it, yeah. And just a reminder, you're listening to MalcolmPresents.com, and the show is Malcolm and We, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
The objective of the organization We the World is to facilitate cooperation on a global scale amongst groups and individuals dedicated to implementing solutions to the many challenges we face on the planet at this time.